Good evening and welcome to the Ghana TV9 News Bulletin for Tuesday, August 20, 2025. I'm Colin Abrams. In the headlines tonight, Jabdio challenges Carter Center report, welcomes finances on the voters list. Forward Ghana movement to take GCUB to court, says party excluded from ballot in hinterland regions. Tushin Secondary to host UG Medical Sciences classes, President Ali announces at the commissioning of the Tushin Secondary School. Political parties react to GCUB's ban on cell phone use in polling booths. And too often policemen are being fingered in criminal matters, says Oslo. Now for the news in depth. The Poor Ghana Movement, FGM, has filed a fixed date application in the High Court challenging the Ghana Elections Commission GCUM regarding the omission of duly approved political parties from ballots in several regions. Learn more in this report. The application seeks constitutional relief under Part 56 of the Civil Procedure Rules, arguing that GCUM's exclusionary ballot practices violates Article 59, 149, and 160 of the Constitution of Guyana, as well as provisions of the Representation of the People's Act, ROPA. At a media conference held today by the Forward Movement Ghana Party, presidential candidate Amanda Walton Desir said Crystal Hadassah Fisher, a registered elector in Region 9 and a candidate on the national list, the plaintiff, is arguing that GCUM's ballot design is unconstitutional, discriminatory, and silences the voices of indigenous and rural communities.
Specifically, the affidavit highlights that approved parties were omitted. The Forward Guyana Movement and the Assembly of Liberty and Prosperity have been excluded from the ballots in Region 7, 8, and 9. And while ALP is excluded from Regions 1 and 2, despite both parties meeting all legal requirements to contest. 2, constitutional rights are violated. Electors in these regions are denied the opportunity to vote for duly approved national lists, constitutional rights are violated, that the electors in these regions are denied the opportunity to vote for duly approved national lists. This is contrary to Article 59, the right to vote, and Article 160, proportional representation.
The affidavit further states that the affected regions are predominantly inhabited by Guyana's indigenous Amerindian population. Excluding parties in these regions disproportionately burdens Amerindian voters, amounting to discrimination on the grounds of race and place of origin. Further, it stated that by artificially reducing the total national votes available to exclude parties, GCUM's practice distorts proportional allocation of seats in the National Assembly. Fisher, the plaintiff, is arguing that GCUM's ballot design is unconstitutional, discriminatory, and silences the voices of indigenous and rural communities.
The motion filed by Dr. Vivian Williams of VMW Law seeks urgent relief by asking the court to declare that any elections held without full party inclusion are null and void, that an order restraining GCUM from excluding any duly qualified party from national ballots, direct GCUM to immediately include the Forward Guyana Movement list of candidates in Regions 7, 8, and 9, and ensure that voters in Region 1, 2, 7, 8, and 9 are not restricted in their electoral participation.
Walton Desir said FMG is steadfast in its commitment to holding GCUM accountable and ensuring that elections are conducted fairly and inclusively for every Guyanese citizen. This court challenge is not just about the technicality, it's about giving the people of Guyana the knowledge and the fair choice they need to make the right decision come September 1, she noted. Colin Abrams, Ghana TV9 News. General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Art Jatio, has criticized the U.S.-based Carter Center, what he described as significant gaps in its recent pre-election statement on Ghana's political climate.
General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Civic Bar Jagdeo, has criticized the U.S.-based Carter Center for what he described as significant gaps in its recent pre-election statement on Guyana's political climate. While the Carter Center noted that the ongoing campaign period has been generally peaceful, Jagdeo took issue with the absence of several serious allegations he believes should have been included in the report. These include an alleged death threat made by a We Invest in Nationhood WIN activist against the government minister, the reported beating of a woman by Bradley Doggy Sampson during a payment dispute, and a video showing a WIN official allegedly engaging in vote buying in Region 1. He also pointed to a reported attack on a bus in the presence of the WIN leader. All of these things are glaring omissions, Jagdeo stated ahead of a planned press conference. I am a bit disappointed that they seem to have reported allegations made in sections of the media from the opposition and left out others. If they reported all the allegations, they should have reported these too, the vice president added. Jagdeo also rejected the Carter Center's claim that the removal of bridge tolls was announced during the campaign season, clarifying that the announcement had been made earlier in July during a PPP commemorative event at Babujan, Port Morant, honoring party funders Chedi and Janet Jagan. They could have easily fact-checked that. That's an inaccuracy, Jagdeo stated. The PPP General Secretary said he was uncertain whether the center had altered its methodology or broken from its traditional practice of issuing pre-election statements. Despite his criticisms, Jagdeo welcomed the center's position that it had found no evidence the voters' list was inflated amid ongoing scrutiny over the electoral roll, which currently stands at 757,690 names, raising concerns given the estimated population and the absence of updated census data. Meanwhile, the Carter Center said it had received allegations that the ruling party used state resources for campaigning, including the deployment of state-owned vehicles and the participation of government-employed 10-day workers in campaign activities. The organization also highlighted the blurring of lines between state and party in official events where public officials appear in ruling party attire. Since July 30, President Irfan Ali has announced plans to promote over 2,800 officers to the Guyana Police Force, a move the Carter Center warned could be seen as giving the ruling party an unfair advantage. These and similar measures can be seen to afford the ruling party an unfair advantage. While Guyana's laws do not prohibit new government spending after an election is called, such spending runs contrary to international standards and best practices intended to ensure a level playing field, the center noted.
Jaden Adrian, who achieved an unprecedented 27 subjects in the 2025 Bergen Secondary Education Certificate exams, had no intention of settling for anything less. More this Adana Doric report.
In an interview with Guy TV9 on Tuesday, Jaden Adrian, the country's 2025 top performer at CSEC, who secured 21 grade 1s and 6 grade 2s, highlighted that topping the country was always a plan.
There was always a goal. Doing 27 subjects, I never wanted anything less, so I was expecting to top, but I was still home at the same time. There's a lot of very brilliant and talented students across the country and across the Caribbean, and I'm very grateful that I have the one who has been up so far.
While his remarkable academic achievement has resulted in the requisite admiration and applause from most persons, there is the perception in some quarters that 27 subjects are just too much and constitutes an unnecessary overkill. To those critics, Jason had to say this.
Firstly, I would say that it's something that has been on criticized every single year. Not just for me, I wasn't the first, and some persons fail to realize that the main purpose of writing this volume of subjects is to get the scholarship to study abroad. Because some students, they feel as if their calling is something special, something that's not offered within the universities in Guyana, within the universities in the Caribbean. So they know they have the ability to do this volume of subjects to get that scholarship to study abroad.
The biggest hurdle Jaden faced while preparing for CSEC examination was the time-consuming process of completing school-based assessment (SBAs) for the whopping 27 subjects.
Because it was very time-consuming managing SBAs while studying at the same time. But also, it would be the times when you're alone and you feel with so much doubt failure sometimes you would have thought, why am I doing this normal subjects? I could have done something, could have done less, 10 less, or could have been happier with, 10 or 12. But resilience, I learned resilience throughout this journey. And I thank all the people, my teachers, and my scholarly that supported me.
Preceding his move to Queen's College, Jaden attended both the School of the Nations and Marion Academy. His impressive score of 516 in 2020 at the National Grade 6 assessment secured him a spot at the esteemed institution. The youngest of two siblings, Jaden aims to become an engineer.
To be the best at whatever I want to be, and that is engineering. The upcoming fields integrating AI into the automotive industry, into the mechanical and more traditional engineering fields. It really motivated me. So I want to continue my studies abroad, where these new fields are being what can I say? They're being looked at, and I can be a part of that new wave, that new motion for that engineering.
The young man is set to return to Queen's College to continue his studies in the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination CAPE program in the new school term. And for those desirous of following in Jaden's footsteps, Jaden had this bit of advice.
Personally, I would say to find purpose, because in your excellence volume of subjects, there would be a lot of times where you would doubt yourself, like I said before. And if there's no purpose behind what you're doing, you're gonna fall or you're gonna fail. There's no other way to say it. So you must find purpose, you must ground yourself. Sometimes you have to let go of certain emotions that would bring you back, bring you back. Complete your SBs early. Procrastinating, other feelings are normal, and top students have the same problems as you, so don't want to feel as you can. We're not like universe.
Dana Dorek, Ghana TV9 News.
Thank you, Adana. Leguan is set to benefit from a series of major infrastructure projects, as President Ali outlined during a community meeting held Tuesday evening. Among the key initiatives is the complete overhaul of the island's hospital, which will be rebuilt to meet modern healthcare standards.
The upgraded facility will include advanced medical equipment such as an X-ray machine and other essential diagnostic tools. President Ali emphasized that this investment aligns with the government's wider commitment to providing world-class healthcare services throughout Guyana. In addition to healthcare, the president announced the construction of a new irrigation canal to support the island's agricultural productivity, as well as the establishment of a childcare facility aimed at helping working parents. These projects formed part of the PPPC administration's broader development agenda to improve quality of life and drive sustainable growth in rural communities across the country.
The next 5 years must deliver to you a health system where our pregnant mothers do not have to go anywhere to give birth. That is why we are going to not only rehabilitate, but rebuild your hospital to a standard and class that is befitting anything you see on the coast.
President Ali has unveiled plans for the construction of a new irrigation canal on Leguan Island aimed at bolstering agricultural productivity, particularly in rice cultivation. Speaking during a community engagement on the island, the president said the initiative is a direct response to concerns raised by local farmers during recent consultations. The canal will provide a more reliable water supply, addressing a long-standing challenge for the island's agricultural sector. The project forms part of the government's targeted approach to rural development, with President Ali reaffirming his administration's commitment to supporting farmers and strengthening Guyana's food production systems.
The farmers have written us and they said that this is the viable solution. And what are we going to do? We are going to build that irrigation canal and channel so you can get the water and you can plant your rice and you are not dependent on the rainfall alone.
As part of broader efforts to enhance social services on Leguan Island, President Ali announced plans for the establishment of a day and night care center to support working families, with a particular focus on assisting young mothers. The initiative is designed to ease the burden on parents juggling work and childcare responsibilities, and reflecting the government's commitment to building inclusive community infrastructure. President Ali also assured residents that Laguan will remain a priority in the national development agenda, emphasizing that their community will not be left behind if the PPPC is re-elected to office. Adana Dora, Ghana TV9 News.
More of the news after the break. Stay with us.
We voted red. We voted red.
Guyana is on the rise with the People's Progressive Party Civic, and we must continue with leadership you can trust. So let's join the PPPC's journey to victory for a grand public meeting on Saturday, August 23 at Rumshop Street, Herstelling, East Bank, Demerara, starting at 5:30 p.m. Be there to hear from His Excellency President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali and others. As the most trusted political party, the People's Progressive Party Civic is transforming Guyana for all with progress you can see. So let's join the PPPC's journey to victory for a grand public meeting on Saturday, August 23 at Rumshop Street, Herstelling, East Bank, Demerara, starting at 5:30 p.m. Vote PPPC. Forward together for a better Guyana.
Yo, Ricky, I hear that you can't cheat at elections, boy. Yeah, boy. You can't cheat at elections, and if you try to cheat, you will be caught. When you are caught, you will be prosecuted in court, and if found guilty, you will go to jail and pay a big fine. So how will it catch me if I try to cheat? GCOM has put in place several measures to identify persons who would attempt to cheat. As an ordinary voter, the measures that apply to you are ensuring that you cannot impersonate another voter, checking your fingers for the presence of indelible ink, and being scrutinized by the party agents who are stationed at the polling stations. Well, yes, Ricky, you're right, boy. Nobody can cheat.
For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
I got a real problem, buddy. I want to vote on election day, but I got to work a 12-hour shift every day from Monday to Friday, from 6 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon, boy.
I got the same problem. I registered to vote in Kitty where I live in, and I walk in still up in Linden. And I only get Sunday for go home, and then back again Monday for work.
You know, truly speaking, the hours you work in and the place where you work should not prevent you from voting.
Really?
How come?
Listen, the law makes it absolutely clear that employers should give time off to their employees so as to vote. All you have to do is inform your employer that you need time off to exercise your constitutional right to vote.
For real? That's exactly what I can do.
Hey, me too, buddy.
Yeah.
I didn't do that so bad.
For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy. And more East Coast Demerara, the PPPC's journey to victory is coming your way for a grand public meeting on Monday, August 25 at Robert Square starting at 6 p.m. Be there to hear from PPP General Secretary and Vice President Dr. Bara Jagdeo and others. Guyana is on the rise with the People's Progressive Party Civic, and we must continue with leadership you can trust. As the most trusted political party, the People's Progressive Party Civic is transforming Guyana for all with progress you can see. So let's join the PPPC's journey to victory for a grand public meeting on Monday, August 25 at Robert Square and more, East Coast Demerara, starting at 6 p.m. Vote PPPC. Forward together for a better Guyana.
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. President Dr. Irfan Ali has announced that the newly commissioned $930 million tuition secondary school located on the east bank of Essequibo will double as a campus extension for the University of Guyana's College of Medical Sciences. Speaking at the official opening of the state-of-the-art facility on Wednesday, President Ali revealed that the school will accommodate evening classes for students pursuing medical studies, bringing higher education opportunities closer to residents of Region 3. In addition, the president shared that practicing doctors and medical professionals will be given the opportunity to serve as lecturers at the medical school, allowing them to supplement their income while contributing to the training of future healthcare workers.
The senior doctors that will be working at the hospital and senior nurses and technicians who are working in the system here in Region 3 will now have their tax incentive in their second job lecturing at the College of Medical Sciences here in Tucson and here in Region 3.
Additionally, the president announced that the newly opened Tucson Secondary School will also serve as a venue for night classes under the Guyana Online Academy of Learning Goals Scholarship Program. The move aims to expand access to tertiary education by providing a physical space for students pursuing online studies, particularly those who may lack reliable connectivity or a conducive learning environment at home. This initiative is part of the government's broader push to decentralize education and create more opportunities for lifelong learning across the country.
And I've asked Premier Manichan to look at the secondary schools, including Tucson here, and for us to outfit it with a full technology so that those who are registered on the Gold program can come here in the evening and study and complete their diplomas, their degrees, their masters right here.
Meanwhile, Education Minister Priya Manikchand has confirmed that the newly commissioned Tucson Secondary School is part of a wider initiative to construct 5 secondary schools across Region 3. The other schools are located in Westminster, De Willem, Nimes, and Crane, with a student dormitory also being built at Lenora. The expansion is aimed at improving access to quality secondary education and reducing overcrowding in existing schools throughout the region. Colin Abrams, Guyana TV9 News. Following a recent announcement by the Guyana Elections Commission GCOM banning the use of cell phones at polling stations, several political parties contesting the upcoming elections have expressed their support for the decision. The move follows repeated calls from both the leader of the opposition and opposition commissioner, Vincent Alexander. Several political parties are welcoming the decision by the Elections Commission to prohibit the use of cell phones in the polling station for the upcoming general and regional elections set for September 1. The elections body said on Tuesday that, quote, considering that the integrity of the electoral process is of crucial importance, the new measures are designed to ensure that every citizen can cast their vote freely and without undue influence, and that the secrecy of their choice is absolutely protected, end of quote. Speaking with Guyana TV9 by telephone interview Wednesday, presidential candidate of the Partnership for National Unity APNU Aubrey Norton said he is welcoming the decision by the commission.
Well, we are happy that we're getting the situation where there's no use of cell phone. I don't think, however, it is the goodwill of the Elections Commission.
This decision by GCOM is aimed at protecting the sanctity and the secrecy of the ballot, particularly in addressing existing concerns regarding the potential for vote selling that is directly linked to photographing of ballots. The prohibition of cell phone use and the penalties for vote selling are rooted in the Representation of the People's Act, Chapter 103, GCOM noted. Executive member of the Alliance for Change, Kathy Hughes, speaking with Ghana TV9 News, said her party welcomes the decision and called on polling day staff to ensure compliance. She urged the electorate to respect the rules, reminding that there are penalties for doing otherwise.
The Alliance for Change is satisfied that GCOM has finally made a public statement and has reiterated their responsibility to ensure that one of the most crucial laws with regards to elections in Guyana is upheld. And that is the ensuring the sanctity and protection of the secrecy of the ballot and everybody's vote. We know that we have been plagued with rumors of persons being intimidated to collect money for their vote, and the banning of cell phones in the polling stations and also in the voter booth is a critical step in ensuring that we can have a free and fair election.
Meanwhile, the For Ghana movement is of the opinion that while the new policy is commendable, it could prohibit electors from recording evidence of possible misconduct at polling stations.
While GCOM is saying they will disallow phones in the polling station, not having phones in the voting booth is another thing entirely to not having any phones at all in the polling station. Because typically when there are issues of accountability, transparency, phones are used to gather evidence by different parties to verify the integrity of the process. So on one hand, this is where it's sort of giving with one hand and taking with the other hand. On one hand, they've conceded, and this by virtue of the fact no phones in the polling station, there's no phones in the booth. However, now you're left in
a release, GCOM stated that several measures will be implemented to ensure compliance with the new guidelines. These include clear signage outside all polling stations, regular announcements to voters on polling day, a designated area or table near the voting booth where voters must leave their cell phones, and a revised layout of the voting stations to allow party observers and election officers to monitor for any attempt to use devices. Calvin Abrams, Ghana TV9 News. A very large voters list poses challenges for many of the political parties, says Aubrey Norton. More in this Adam Harris report.
The voters list is a major talking point in the run-up to the elections. The list has grown by some 150,000 since the 2020 elections. APNU presidential candidate Aubrey Norton says that not much can be done to reduce the list.
The government has a majority in parliament. They have made changes, etc. And then you had the Chief Justice ruling, which I thought was a wrong ruling that would have affected this country, in which she ruled that you could not take names off of the list, etc.
He said that despite the possibility of challenges, political parties have to scrutinize.
If you don't scrutinize the election, the rigging plan will be put in place. It's already activated. In fact, in one case, they put a poll in place at a particular residence, and the man is of a particular religion, and the man is saying that meat cannot go on his premises.
There is also talk that the owner can provide meals for the elections worker. The way forward isn't straightforward. Norton says that at present, the political party with the greatest number of seats in the National Assembly makes decisions for the entire country. He said that there are ways to counter the situation.
You can say for the passing of the budget, you need 50% to the government, 50% to the opposition. What that means right away is that there has to be compromise and negotiation. I believe there's need for constitutional reform. I believe there's need to change this winner-take-all
He
system.
said that the now opposition had put in place an Ethnic Relations Commission. This commission has multiple functions.
The government does not implement the other 21. And so what happens is that you have it in the constitution, but it's not implemented. There is also need for a change in the political culture. If you have a culture of dominance, winner take all, you can make all the changes in the constitution, and the political actors, if they don't accept the need for compromise, if they don't accept the need for consensus, and they continue to pursue domination and control, then constitutional reform wouldn't help. But as a party, the APNU is committed to constitutional reform to ensure that Guyana can progress and develop.
Adam Harris, TV Guyana 9.
Police are seeking the public's help in identifying the suspect pictured wanted in connection with a break-in at Cellphone King Electronics, Lot 29, Selling Road of Ridden Hook, West Coast, Demerara, between 5 p.m. August 18 and 4:40 a.m. August 19. Items including cell phones, laptops, and footwear valued at $5.7 million were stolen. Anyone with information is asked to contact the OC Crime Region 3 on 632-1205, Greenville Police Station on 628-3157, and Detective Sergeant Douglas on 602-6094. More news after the break. Stay with us.
We voted red. We voted red.
Guyana is on the rise with the People's Progressive Party Civic, and we must continue with leadership you can trust. So let's join the PPPC's journey to victory for a grand public meeting on Saturday, August 23 at Rumshop Street, Herstelling, East Bank, Demerara, starting at 5:30 p.m. Be there to hear from His Excellency President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali and others. As the most trusted political party, the People's Progressive Party Civic is transforming Guyana for all with progress you can see. So let's join the PPPC's journey to victory for a grand public meeting on Saturday, August 23 at Rumshop Street, Herstelling, East Bank, Demerara, starting at 5:30 p.m. Vote PPPC. Forward together for a better Guyana.
You never vote neither. So you don't know if anybody gonna know which party you vote for.
Not because I never vote. I know that when I vote, nobody can see which party I voting for.
Why should I believe you? You.
Let me help you with something, young man. The young lady is correct. The freedom to vote for a political party of your own choice on election day is yours. Nobody will know which political party you voted for. Once you would have marked your ballot paper and folded it as directed, nobody will see which political party you would have voted for. After you would have placed your ballot paper in the ballot box, you're guaranteed that your vote will remain a secret.
Oh, thanks, big man. For sure, I'm gonna vote on election day. Now to feel confident that nobody will know which party I'm going to vote for.
For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy. How to vote. Having been identified as the voter you claim to be, you will be given a ballot paper that is stamped at the back on the top section as well as the bottom section in your presence. On the ballot paper, provision is made for you to vote twice, once at the top section where you vote for the general election and once at the bottom section where you vote for the regional election. Look for the name and symbol of the party of your choice in the top section of the ballot paper and mark your X in the empty box next to the party symbol. Then look for the name and symbol of the party of your choice in the bottom section and mark your X in the empty box next to the party's symbol. After you have voted, fold the ballot paper as shown by the election official, dip the first joint of your right index finger in the ink provided, then place the ballot paper in the ballot box. You will then have to peacefully depart the polling station. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0277-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy. And more East Coast Demerara, the PPPC's journey to victory is coming your way for a grand public meeting on Monday, August 25 at Robert Square starting at 6 p.m. Be there to hear from PPP General Secretary and Vice President Dr. Bara Jagdeo and others. Guyana is on the rise with the People's Progressive Party Civic, and we must continue with leadership you can trust. As the most trusted political party, the People's Progressive Party Civic is transforming Guyana for all with progress you can see. So let's join the PPPC's journey to victory for a grand public meeting on Monday, August 25 at Robert Square and more, East Coast Demerara, starting at 6 p.m. Vote PPPC. Forward together for a better Guyana.
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. Dr. Irfan Ali has described the recently launched People's Progressive Party Civic Manifesto as a strategic continuation of the administration's successful governance since 2020, one that, according to him, has already surpassed many of its initial promises.
In an exclusive interview with journalist Neil Marks, President Ali stated that significant progress has been made across all major sectors, underscoring that key campaign commitments have already been fulfilled. He noted that the new manifesto is not merely a list of future goals, but a roadmap to move Guyana into a higher stage of development. The head of state highlighted the government's sharpened focus on strategic investments, particularly in industries poised to drive the country's economic growth. These efforts, he explained, are being underpinned by the creation of strong support ecosystems and regulatory frameworks aimed at encouraging sustained inflows of foreign currency. President Ali said the manifesto reflects a practical and forward-looking approach grounded in the administration's existing accomplishments and geared forward long-term national transformation.
What we had to do was to understand where we are, have a clear idea as to where we want the country to be, building our competitiveness, ensuring that the streams of revenue are expanding, and that we continue to grow what is there already.
He also revealed that the PPPC's newly launched manifesto is the product of both a clear understanding of Guyana's revenue potential and extensive public consultation carried out over the last 5 years. The president said that through national consultations and targeted stakeholder engagement, the government was able to pinpoint the country's key development priorities while also addressing the unique needs of each region. One of the major outcomes of this approach, he noted, is the introduction of customized regional development plans, a first for Guyana. These region-specific strategies are being directly linked to projected revenue streams, ensuring that upcoming investments are not only impactful but financially sustainable. President Ali emphasized that this deliberate alignment of resources with regional needs reflects a more strategic, data driven model of governance focused on delivering equitable growth across the country.
So you have to have a balance. You can, if you spend everything, then you have an imbalance. So everything is linked. You will see, for example, some of the announcements that we have made are directly linked to the performance of the economy.
President Ali has given the assurance that all current benefits provided by the government will not only be maintained but expanded if the PPPC is re-elected. As part of the ongoing rollout of the party's newly launched manifesto, the president highlighted that the administration's development agenda remains centered on strategic investments aimed at strengthening and diversifying the economy. He emphasized that these initiatives are designed to directly enhance the quality of life for all Guyanese. The manifesto, he noted, builds on the government's existing accomplishments and sets out a bold, forward thinking plan to deliver even greater national progress in the years ahead. Adana Doric, Ghana TV9 News.
One retired commissioner of police is of the view that too often policemen are being fingered in criminal matters. More in this Adam Harris report.
Retired Assistant Police Commissioner Paul Slow says that there is too much cover-up in the Ghana police force.
So over the weekend it surfaced, let me read what it says here. A recently promoted inspector and 4 subordinate ranks are expected to be charged soon with robbery under arms. This is HGP Nightly News. A Chinese national reported that he went from winning big at a Church Street casino to being the victim of a robbery in a matter of seconds.
The man had just left the casino when he was confronted by the ranks who took his winnings. Slow said that to date, the police have remained silent. The Office of Professional Responsibility reportedly viewed CCTV footage and has managed to obtain a confession.
But this matter raises some issues because according to what has been reported, this man had some big winning at the casino in Church Street. When he came out, they said when he came out, he was leaving the casino when he was stopped by the anti-crime patrol. Right away, red flag, police, red flag. It seems as though he was specifically targeted.
Slow said that this wasn't a random robbery. He said that the situation is worrying. Too often policemen are being fingered in criminal offenses.
Not so long ago, and up to now they remain silent. Right in police headquarters, at the back of police headquarters, the bank GBTI there, man got to deposit $10 million. He was robbed by men in police uniform. We heard from the police. West Demerara, some police sergeant was said to be the ringleader in some break and enter, a gang that broke into people's homes. When they arrest some suspect, they found messages, text messages and so on the thief men phone, linking them to this police sergeant.
Slow said that not much more has been heard of these issues. There has also been the report of the policeman who was arrested trying to smuggle a firearm into the New Amsterdam prison. All these matters have been said to be investigated by the Office of Professional Responsibility. But after the initial report, nothing more is heard, Slow said. More recently, there was the announcement that the police have been equipped with some 5,000 body cameras.
These men did not have on body cameras for us to now see what really transpired.
He was speaking about the ranks that robbed the Chinese national. Adam Harris, TV Guyana 9.
And finally, in tonight's newscast, as Ghana prepares for its upcoming general and regional elections, the Ghana Elections Commission, GCOM, is assuring the public that robust systems are in place to uphold the credibility of the electoral process. Chief Elections Officer Vishnu Prasad has reaffirmed the Commission's commitment to ensuring transparent, free, and fair elections.
Speaking recently, Prasad outlined a series of mechanisms aimed at preventing voter impersonation and multiple voting. One key feature is the use of a folio containing colored photograph of registered voters, which election officials will use at polling stations for real-time visual identification. This initiative is designed to make voter impersonation and duplication significantly more difficult. In addition, the use of indelible electoral ink remains a critical safeguard. Voters are required to dip their fingers into the ink, which must be allowed to dry naturally. The ink is intended to serve as a visible indicator that a person has already voted, thereby preventing multiple ballots from being cast by the same individual.
An elector may come with an oily finger or some type of cream on the finger. In this regard, we are taking steps to ensure that we have issues at every polling station to ask electors to clean their fingers before they put it in the ink.
In preparation for the upcoming elections, the Guyana Elections Commission GCOM has announced the final configuration of polling stations across the country. According to the Commission, a total of 2,790 polling stations will be established within 1,151 polling places nationwide. Of these locations, 62 have been identified as private residences, a practice that GCOM says is necessary in areas where public buildings are not readily available. The Commission has assured the public that all such venues will meet the necessary standards to ensure a secure and accessible voting environment.
The amendments to the Representation of the People Act that was done at the end of 2022, December 22, has reduced the number of electors allocated to a polling station from 450 to 400. Now, in complying with that, obviously there will be a movement of electors between polling stations. What we can assure you is that, as the law requires, that elector would be listed to vote at a polling station within the division in which he or she is registered to vote.
The Guyana Elections Commission GCOM has reported receiving a total of 3,972 applications for proxy voting ahead of the general and regional elections. According to the Commission, each application is currently undergoing a thorough vetting process to verify eligibility. GCOM emphasized that only valid and legitimate requests will be approved as part of its broader efforts to maintain transparency and prevent abuse of the electoral system. Adana Doric, Guyana TV9 News.
And that's all for tonight's news bulletin. I'm Colin Abrams. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.